my worst own enemy. And I sabotage myself a lot, so.
Sorry. Okay, everything's done. I don't know how. I don't know where we were. I'm just zoning in now. The sound is working. Sorry about that. Okay, so
Talking about different
we-
handyman things.
okay, I think we were originally talking about how sometimes it's hard. It's hard to do these podcasts every 2 weeks because I have to relearn the wiring
Yeah.
that happens behind the scenes and getting this. I remember one thing and then I forget something else, and so so this time it was actually the sound that's the problem. So we're live and everyone can hear.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hello, everybody.
So whatever was offensive that was unfortunately discussed before, luckily it wasn't taped. So
No.
we're
Oh,
okay.
man, they missed the good stuff.
Yeah.
Only from Peter. Welcome back. And I think, originally, before we went into the different ethnicities that you would find
In the
commonly
field.
in the field, we were going to talk about bonuses and holiday bonuses and tips, because we're rolling into the holiday season, and it's a source of, I guess, it's a attraction for people that are coming into this industry when they hear about some of the tips that they get during the holiday season, especially if you work at a large luxury building. It's also, a topic that's uncomfortable to talk about because it can affect how you feel, how your motivation at work. So, Peter, tell us about what new supers could expect to during the season in terms of tips and bonuses and gifts that you would receive, and maybe also talk on behalf of the door persons, handyman, and such.
What to expect? First, you have to remember the tipping is voluntary. That they want to give, they'll give. If they don't want to give, they won't give. There's two types of tipping in our industry. One is where people in the building, the residents of the building, will give you an envelope or check or something like that, and they'll give one to every person. And the other type is where the board will decree an amount, and everybody has to chip in through their maintenance into that kitty, and then the kitty gets divvied up by the board to the employees. That kitty is, my opinion, the worst way to go. The best way is if everybody individually gives people. That's my opinion. What to expect? I don't know. With today's economy the way it is, and the tariffs and everything else going around, I can only go based on historically. Historically, supers or resident managers earned approximately $100 and up per apartment. Remember that not every apartment gives you. Doorman would get between 50 and 75 per apartment, and handyman would get around $30, $40, maybe 50 per apartment, and porters usually got around 20, 25. Now, it's a ballpark. There are those people that give $900, $1,000 to the super, and $600, $700 to the doorman. But that's not common, but it can be done. If you have in a building, let's say 350 apartments, expect to get at least envelopes from 200 apartments, maybe 250, somewhere between 200 and 250 out of 350 apartments. Not everybody gives. And you'll always find the 80-20 rule. The 80-20 rule means that out of, let's see, 20% of the apartments will give 80% of your tips. That's usually pretty fair. Actually, there's a book called the 80-20 rule. It could be the 20-80 rule, where you expect 80% of your complaints will come from 20% of the people. That's an example. But
And it applies to tips and
Yep.
and bonuses as
bonuses
well in the building.
as well. The oddly enough, the way we had my last building, the way we determined the bonuses from the board for the staff was I did a staff evaluation in October, and based on the points you got on your evaluation was how much you got as a bonus. And that worked pretty good because those that didn't do so well got lower bonuses, and those that did very well, worked hard, never called sick, that kind of thing, got more money. So that was, the board considered that fair. And there are other buildings that just give the same amount of money across the board. And when that happens, there are those that work really hard and they get the same amount as a bum who, just did the minimum. That there was a lot of, animosity there.
Do you find that when you follow that system of tip, giving a higher tip based on performance-based bonuses, do you feel that it has the adverse effect? Maybe when someone gets something lower than what the next person got, that actually makes them work, motivate them less, and
We found that the opposite. It motivated them more, but only if the difference was a good amount. If the difference between a guy that worked really hard and a bum, let's call it a bum, was only $100, that person's not going to be motivated to, bust his butt to earn an extra 100 on a bonus.
Right. It's like $100 charge for not having to work hard. Like,
Yeah.
Okay, fine.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. So that's where that system would fail. And
You talked about with the kitty that the board determines versus the sort of residents independently giving bonuses.
Correct.
Which scenario works out better financially for the staff?
The individual, not the collective.
Right.
With the collective, the board may force everybody to put into the kitty. It's like, they take it out of your maintenance, period. So there may be more money, but the way they divided it up, it becomes pretty much less per guy. And then, of course, then they weigh in how long you've been here. One guy who's been here 3 years and a guy who's been there 25 years. Well, that guy, the 25-year guy, is going to get more money than the guy who's been there 5 years. So there's a lot of,
so there is.
It also doesn't reflect if an apartment has gotten a lot of help or has a particular affinity for someone on the staff, they're probably going to give more. It doesn't take into account that sort of interpersonal relationships.
Then what would happen is they would either give an envelope. If there's a kitty, they'll contribute to the kitty, and then tip the person that did a lot of work separately in addition, or they just tip throughout the year as they go. It's the funny thing about Christmas is that December 10th, maybe 11th, all year long you don't see the super. And around December 10, December 11, somewhere around the 12th, you start seeing the super in the lobby.
Are you implying something?
Yes, I definitely am implying. And it may not be that early, but definitely within by 10 days before Christmas, the super will be there in the lobby every day. In most cases, remember, it's always in most cases, and for good or for bad. But as I tell the staff, wear your Christmas smile and your Christmas attitude. every day, not just 10 days before Christmas.
Roberto, how do you feel about
Okay,
the season?
okay, so I agree with Peter to a certain level. In most buildings, they take a collection and they divvy it up among the employees, depending on years and personal performance, I would say, how the board designates what you should get, decides, better said. But our scenario was a bit different. We had a building that had 362 apartments. It took 1 square block. So we had an east and west wing in the building. So they collected the money and gave it to the employees instead of individually, because if you got it individually, the people that live on the west side don't recognize the people, the employees of the east side, and vice versa, east with the west employees. So for that reason, they always had a collection, and they divvied it up among the employees for that reason, so everyone can get an equal share. And in most cases, the doormen, since they were the ones seen the most, collected the most, and followed by the super. But in some cases, I've come across where the super was irate because a few of the doormen made more money for Christmas than he did, and he started getting, very upset at the fact that, I'm in charge, he's the doorman, he's making more. And for that reason, sometimes the supers would even quit.
So in your case, you're saying that it all depends upon how often you're seen. So you're more seen the more seen you are,
Yes, more visual, yes.
the more, the higher the chances.
Right,
of
and if you have an east and west wing, then the tenants on the east wing don't recognize some of the employees on the west wing, and vice versa. So for Christmas, when they hand out envelopes, they'll only hand out to the guys on the east, if they live on the east, and the ones on the west, only to the west.
It kind of sounds like it's Peter saying that it's based on performance and staff evaluation, and then you're saying that it's in your building. It seems more based on how often you're seen.
You're seen,
Yeah.
exactly.
So how
And for that reason, the porters
right.
did a little better because they worked the east and west side of the building,
Right,
so
right.
they were seen by both sides.
So it seems like it's an arbitrary system.
It is.
Every building has their own way of tipping, and if you happen to be in a building that tips well or tips better based on how much they see you, then maybe Peter's right. I mean, in those buildings, the super needs to be on the sidewalk
and
in the lobbies.
And you also have some that don't tip the way you would expect them to. Like we had a tenant that for Christmas used to hand out $10 checks to all the employees every Christmas, additional. She would give $10 to every one of them.
Right.
And then we had others that were constantly asking for work in the apartment and requesting other things necessary to cater to her, and would come down with a box of cookies and say, here, split this with all the guys.
Right.
Some of them are just
Cheap.
Okay.
for the lack of a better word, yes.
Okay. But then again, even if they're cheap, as Peter was saying,
It is something they're
completely-
giving.
Yeah, they're giving.
They're
and
still
it's-
contributing.
Yeah, it's that's an eye. It's in the eye of the beholder.
But
Yeah.
we also have to be careful because there's some residents, better said, that they give you something and then they expect a lot more in return later on during the year. And if you don't comply, they'll throw it right at you. They'll say, listen, didn't I take care of you? And we have to swallow our pride, say, yeah, I apologize, and you perform whatever task they need. So for that reason, certain people wouldn't take certain tips from certain people.
Because the
So
expectation
wait,
is
quick
that
question. Are you saying that like just an extra $10 actually that that gesture matters. That
Not to us, but in their minds.
in
yes.
their minds.
okay.
Yeah.
Well,
They
the
believe-
lady who gave out the $10 checks.
It's still a check. It's appreciated. Because, I mean,
It's
it's something,
appreciated.
because others don't give it all.
Yeah.
You gotta remember,
Right.
there are those who don't give it all.
And also, we have to
Correct.
remember, at the end of the day, we get a paycheck.
We do get a check.
Correct.
We provide a service, and that's that.
I feel like the question on everybody's mind, or my mind, is if I give you a bigger tip, are you gonna like
Take care of
take
you
care
better.
of me more?
Yes.
And if I don't tip you, are you gonna take a little longer to get up to my apartment to unclog the
Possible.
toilet?
I think Jay Leno said it the best. There was a time when there was a lot of bombings and things going on in New York City. So they started training doormen for the terrorism and aspects of that nature. And they said that they make good security for that. And they said, nothing's going to get past them. Unless, of course, the person's a good tipper. If he's a good tipper, then he can get past anything with security. But that's the way that's the joke he made. But the fact of the matter is that every position in the building is about performance and security. Because if they can't come into the front door, they'll try to get into the back door. The name of the game is thou shalt not get caught in their minds, So, as I said, everything is appreciated. Everything is
Is
appreciated.
it more important to tip throughout the year, to be known as someone who tips throughout the year, as opposed to a big tip at the end of the year?
There are those that tip during the year, and there are those that just tip once a year.
Yeah, this is just in their nature.
I was interviewed for an article by the New York Post about 10 years ago about Christmas tipping. And the picture with the article was that you saw the back of the doorman, and behind him he had a knife.
Well,
Yeah, so because you got to remember that if you, especially with those people that are in a position where they can help you more, can also mess up more. So if you don't appreciate what they do for you, your packages could get lost a little bit or delayed.
or delayed.
Your
Exactly.
dry cleaning could be sent somewhere else. It could have fell on the floor. So,
Sometimes the wife will come home. They don't give her the dry cleaning because when the husband comes home, he gets the dry cleaning plus the tip. And whereas they may not get a tip from her. So they'll hold it and let her pass and wait for the husband to come, and he gets the cleaning and they get a tip. So you're going to face all that. That's part of the field work.
every building's different. Everybody's
Yeah.
different.
It's
so
not all of them, but some of them do place that practice in.
Yes, got to remember this is not in every case. It's just in some cases, and that's what we're here to do: is tell you the some cases.
That actually sounds pretty,
You're enjoying this.
I am, because it's kind of smart. I mean, like, it's so simple, but it's smart. Like,
Yeah.
if the husband tips and the wife doesn't, so the guys hold the
Yes,
package or the laundry or
until
whatever
he arrives.
until he arrives. It just seems so manipulative.
James, let's look at the handyman. 5B writes a work order that he needs something done. And if he's a good tipper, the handyman will be fighting each other to get to that apartment.
Right.
Whereas, let's say, 8F doesn't tip. So nobody wants to go.
Yeah,
That's the way it is.
So how does the resident manager, I mean, talking to superintendents, resident managers, is it their role to kind of see that and to stop that sort of angling? Like, like, for instance, if you saw that the doorman staff was doing that, I'm not a one to judge, I mean, if the husband's a big tipper, I can see the reason why they do it, but would you, as a resident manager, when you see that, what would you do? I mean, it seems like almost like it's your responsibility. That's why the resident manager is there, once they see things like that, to stop that and to say, hey, guys, look, this, you need, your job is being influenced by your expectation of getting a tip, right? And
I
or
don't
do you
know.
let it go?
Unless there's a complaint, I'd let it go.
Exactly, as long as the tenants are not, the residents don't complain, give you
If
negative
it's-
feedback.
If you get the feedback, why did the doorman give the package to my wife? Well,
Right.
then we'll take,
Then they have
we'll,
to honor that.
we'll correct that action. But if there's no complaint, then
Yeah, it just keeps going along.
Right.
But that's the way it's performed in a lot of buildings. It's not, I'm not gonna say in all of them, that would be wrong to say. But in some buildings, I've seen it from personal experience, so.
So what can supers, resident managers expect to get as in the amount of tips? How much can they expect to get at buildings
And how much,
during
and
the holiday season?
it really depends on the building, the size of the building
Mm-hmm.
is one thing.
depends if it's a co-op or a rental, depends if it's rent stabilized, but you'll be surprised. The richer the person doesn't mean you're gonna get a
Get more
bigger
money.
tip.
That's true.
Sometimes it's the middle class person that gives a bigger tip. It is what it is. Can't predict it.
You can't place a monetary price on that. It's, you have some buildings where you have a low amount of residents in the building, but they hold more space. Some apartments are like 3 or 4 apartments in one.
Yes, and that kills your average. Because we all average it out, and so we average out, let's say, I was averaging out something like 100, let's say $90 an apartment. But the person that owned 3 apartments brought down my average. But thank God there are more generous people that made that average back up.
Yeah, like, for instance, in the room, in the locker room, the guys would put down the apartments on a refrigerator with a marker of the people that weren't contributing. They were cheap, in other words. And they were putting all these apartment numbers down, and we looked them up, and we would say, okay, avoid these people. And one of the people that worked with us is the porter, and we always contributed, like taking turns paying for coffee, except him. He didn't want to. He just didn't want to. He just wanted the coffee, but he didn't want to contribute. And somebody, just to be malicious, put his name on that list. So he flipped on that, but hey, that's just the way it goes.
Yeah, I forbade that kind of a list. If you want to keep a record of who gave you personally, that's fine.
Yeah.
But the rule in my building was you don't discuss who gave you what, how much bonus you got from the board,
That's right.
and that was that. And if you did discuss it, then
Important
it'd be,
problems.
yeah,
It did.
yeah.
There's a subconscious animosity that starts to brew.
Yeah, and
It
that
does.
blacklist, I guess it is a blacklist, right? It's a blacklist
It's a
of people
kind.
that,
Yeah.
But you know, so
you don't want to.
you have 350 apartments, 100 did not give you. They're on the list. You treat them just as good as the ones that did give you. Well, you don't treat them worse. You just treat the other ones maybe a little bit better.
Yeah.
That, you know, we're all human. It's human nature, isn't it? So.
And it'll also depend upon how, it's kind of like in church, you give what you can. And if you can't, and there are some people who may not be able to, they're having a tough year, tough season, I don't know. Right?
Sometimes I'm an usher at our church, and I'm looking at what people are putting in this plate, and I'm saying, I give too much, way too much money. And then there are those that don't give. Okay, so then I follow them to the parking lot. They get into the BMWs, they get into with New York plates or New Jersey plates. They just don't give
They
because
just don't
it's
care.
their nature. But you never know. They may just give once a year. I doubt it, but what are you going to do?
But maybe they are contributing in other ways too.
Maybe.
Right?
There's a lot of
We
people.
can't say for sure.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
a lot
I
of
think-
people that come in late, and I told my priest. Says we should charge those people $5 when every time they come through the door if they're late.
A charge admission?
Only
Oh,
if they're late.
a late fee, a late fee.
And then you'll see that.
I can see they'll be on time.
I thought you were applying that to the building residents as well. People that come in and give, people are late, and they might miss the holiday season. They'll probably give it to you sometime in January.
Well, no,
And there are those
February,
that
yeah.
January, February, and you know what? They're a blessing.
and
Because
let
here
me tell
comes
you,
a nice piece of money that
Peter,
came in late.
did you ever get these? And we got this a lot.
Coupons?
No, no.
Yeah.
It's, the holidays are coming, right? So in November, they go away on vacation,
Yeah.
show up after the holidays.
Yeah. Or how about this one?
They do that a lot.
A week before Christmas, you don't see them at all, or they're going through the back of the building.
Uh-huh. And they take
And they come in through the back of the building.
yeah.
And
To avoid
you
being
don't see
seen.
them at all. Yeah. Then a few
After
days
the holidays,
yeah,
they start coming to the front door.
Yep, all the time.
Yeah.
I have to say, I do give my holiday tips out, to various people who are important in my life and helping ease some of the work that I have to otherwise do
course.
myself.
Of course.
And I have to say, I've been late a lot of times. I mean, it's after holiday season,
I've
sometime in
had-
January, I always apologize, and sometimes I forget.
I've had
I just
people-
so many things going on that I completely forget a person that I should have just given a yearly thanks to.
I've had people who in February
Yeah.
stopped me and said, Roberto, where have you been? I said, I've been really busy. And they said, wow, we just recently got back and I still have your Christmas up. Don't go, stay right here. They would go upstairs, come right back down and say, here, well, I'm so sorry. But I've had people in February give me the Christmas envelope.
Okay. How about
Very nice.
How about in part-time buildings? Peter, you've had quite a few part-time buildings. How does it work there? What should supers expect?
I would say if it's a smaller building, like 10 apartments, 15 apartments, I would expect about a good 80-90% people that give you. If you're the only one there, I would expect anywhere between 50 and 100 per person. If it's now you're approaching 20 and up, probably 80% will give, and it'll still be about the same between maybe 30 and 100.
Should they see? Is there any kind of reason behind that, or any kind of?
Well, part of the reason is that they calculate also how much. If I'm giving you 50, that means on average, maybe everybody's giving you 50, and if there's 20 people there, that's a lot of money. So maybe I can afford to give you less because you're making more. It's a weird mathematics
Right.
from some of these people, but
And also, you're not there. I mean, if you're talking about
If you're not there.
optics,
But-
part-time
Yeah.
supers are only there for, a few to several hours per week. And
yes, if they're smart, they're there around between 8 and 9:30. As people are leaving, you're cleaning the glass, you're taking care of the trash, you're cleaning the vestibule, you're doing things. You don't have to do it every day, but if you do it 2 or 3 times a week, people will see. And yes, of course, if those that don't see you, well, no. If you're mopping the hallways, make sure you hit the mop against the
The
door.
door.
Or if you're vacuuming, make sure your vacuum cleaner hits the door so people will know that you're out there working.
We had a guy who used to do, I'm going to tell you something, funny you should say that. We had a guy who used to vacuum the hallways. And what he would do is he would hit certain doors with the vacuum. And he would hit it a couple of times and they would open the door. And he said, oh, I'm so sorry if I hit your door. But a happy holidays, happy. Oh, don't go. No, it's okay. No, I got work to do. No, please don't go. And they'd be reaching in to give him something. And he used to do this on like 5, 6, 7 doors.
Yeah, but I'm saying that you do this once a week, not just before Christmas. You
No,
do-
this
so
guy did it for Christmas.
This way people will see you there. And,
This guy did it for Christmas.
there will be a few complaints like, my hallway hasn't been vacuumed in over 3 weeks. It's impossible. So, or in 2 weeks, and then this complaint will from these few people. So I would instruct the porters, make sure you hit the door with the vacuum cleaner. And they did. And then they would open the door and they would see them vacuuming.
Yeah.
That cured that.
That's,
It's just like, oh, I'm getting no heat. My radiator's not working. I go up there. I know it's working. I take out my hammer when she's not looking. I hit the radiator. Bang, 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 clank, clank, bang. Okay, I fixed it. Oh, yes, that's much better now. Thank you.
It is what it is.
so it seems like we're coming back to the same theme of, you know what?
Don't be a super.
Well, well, don't be a super, and count your blessings on how much tip you get during the season. Do it because
It's a gift.
It's a gift.
It's
but
a gift.
But it can easily get to supers' heads. It can easily get to into the heads of people that work in buildings that it's a reflection of or they're entitled to it, number one,
That's it.
or and that becomes a problem, or number two, that it's a reflection of their services, because it could be innocent. You may not people forget. You see, there are people who earnestly forget they just have so many things going on that they forget to tip.
And it's not their custom.
It maybe not be the custom. I think
I moved from Arizona. We never tipped the doorman or whatever. So it's
Right.
It's a
Some
New
people
York thing.
legitimately don't know, right? Like
Right.
it seems hard to believe, but there could be people who just don't know or don't know what's appropriate at all.
that's right.
Some of them ask.
Unless they read the Brick Underground, then they'll be
Some
told.
of them even ask, say, listen, I'm not familiar on tipping. What's the protocol?
Actually, a couple. I mean, I would have to say I heard. I mean, in some countries you don't tip in restaurants, and so
That's
when
right.
you come here, they're suddenly.
I think Japan also.
Korea, Japan is some major countries.
My brother's a good example. He came from Australia. We went to Chinatown, and we ran up like a $400 bill, and he paid by credit card. And the guy comes back and says, "Was the service not good?" Was this, he goes, "What are you talking about?" He goes, "There's the tip." And I told my brother, "You gotta hear your tip." And then another time we went to another restaurant and the bill was like $300. Oh, we don't accept American Express. So I got paid. I got stuck.
But yeah, sometimes the tip is included. Like people could maybe
Inside the
assume
bill.
that a gratuity is included in the overall super package, or maybe some people's parents always took care of the tip, and so they're not even aware that that's something that you should do.
Roberto and I at breakfast were talking. There's one word that sometimes pops up, and it's called greed. How much is enough?
Yeah.
How much is enough? Making $10,000 in Christmas tips, is that enough? 15,000, 8,000. How much is enough? I think when you're new in the industry, a new super or new doorman, your expectations of making tips are low. And as the years go along, your expectations change and it becomes higher and higher. And when it falls short of that expectation, you become unhappy.
I think, Peter, maybe generations too. Like certain generations are taught to tip
Yes.
and others are not.
Yep. Younger people don't really tip, and
Yeah.
they're making
Yeah.
I don't know if I want to go there. Hang on.
Give it a thought.
Oh, I want to
Yeah.
go there.
Oh, let's
but
do
I won't
this.
go there.
Let's do this.
There are certain
Come on,
types
let
of
it
people,
go.
certain types of people that just don't tip at all or very little, and they're working on Wall Street. They're making a
Oh,
whole bunch of money
and complain.
and
And-
complain
and complain.
and demand and everything, and
That's
then
the hide the cheapness, right?
then
Yes.
nothing. Or here, a bottle of wine, $4 bottle of wine. I mean.
Yeah.
Or maybe they just don't find. I mean, it's kind of like people. The tip is such a strange thing, right? It's such a strange idea, right? And you tip when you find value in what someone's doing, and you tip more. And if they
Yes.
don't see the superintendent around, like you say, he's not, and even if they see him in the lobby during the holiday season, he's just standing there, whatever he's doing. Maybe there's a sense that what value is this staff giving to me directly, and I mean, that might be, that's an interesting conversation as well, because a lot of the stuff that the building staff does is behind the scenes.
Yep.
And a lot of people generally don't, I mean, it's almost as if you are supposed to be invisible in the building. The building staff is supposed to be not heard or seen. And that's a sign, and when the building looks great, smells great, and is functioning, then that's a sign that the building staff is doing everything it can to make to maintain the building and have it up and running. The fact that people have to bang their mops against the door to get people to acknowledge that they're doing the
Their
work
performance, yeah.
is it's you know, it's a
Or I tell them, go up there with Windex and spray it up in the air, heavy. So as they come out of the door, they smell that ammonia and stuff. Yeah, it was cleaned, baby.
right. Or people might say like, look, there's the clean. I'm going to go here to this area, but maybe people feel that, you know, I'm going to give tips to people that or to people who do work that maybe I don't know, complicated, or you know, something that requires skill versus, you know, when they look at what a porter does, they may think that, oh, it's not difficult to do, anyone can do it. Maybe they find less value there, but there is a skill. You know, there are things that porters have to learn in order to do it the right way, right? So there is some skill that's required, and you have to be consistent in how you do work. You have to be reliable. So there's other things that kind of go into.
Well, some of them tip due to a guilt complex.
Called creative guild complex. Okay, so
Yes,
it's
like they won't tip, let's say, the porters or the elevator operators, but they will tip the doorman because every morning they got to go past this person.
I see.
You see what I'm saying?
Right.
So they have a guilt complex where they see the people ahead of them giving something, and they're walking by not giving anything. So sooner or later, they're going to get that guilt complex and they're going to contribute
But
because
only-
they're seen every morning. But as I said, that's due to a guilt complex. Now some, not many or all,
So
but there
explain
are
that,
a number of people like that.
explain that one more time again. You say so,
Since they leave every morning
right?
at a designated time, they're getting a cab for them. Right?
Right.
Let them get a
Yeah,
cab for
or
them. Yeah.
getting the packages or
Or getting the packages or the limousines brings them back for whatever reason.
Limousine.
Every tenant, yeah,
I
some
was
of
going to
them,
say that too, but I think Roberto is creating a picture here of
well, some of them have
a backdrop of
corporate
wealth.
cars that
Okay,
bring them
The
home.
company car.
Company
Mhm,
car.
Yeah.
Others
And-
have chauffeurs.
okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
my chauffeurs,
Of course,
yes.
I mean, realistically, this
Yeah.
is you have a very
Yes,
yeah.
you do. You have a varied group of people in
Yeah,
the building.
your customers are very wealthy.
Yeah.
Some of
So-
them. So
They're leaving every morning, coming back every afternoon at a
Right.
designated time,
right.
right?
So
So now the holidays come,
right.
and they're noticing that the doormen are getting envelopes,
Mhm.
you know,
From the people that
whether it's in the morning or in the afternoon coming back, but they're giving them something. And they see that, and they don't want to feel like left out. And even though they're not giving to the others, such as the porters and the elevator operators,
Right.
they will give to the
Oh,
doorman
I
because
see, I see.
every morning they see this person.
Right.
feel guilty.
So they feel guilty. So they
But they may not give
And
to
so
all of
do-
them,
do
just
the-
to some of
do
them,
the
the
door-
ones that see them.
do the doorman then stack these envelopes somewhere that's obvious so that everyone
No,
sees? Okay.
no, they don't.
But
They just put them
They-
right away.
Okay.
No, what they would do is if they didn't see the person, if the envelope came down as a bunch, and as that person's coming in with other tenants,
They'll
he'd
pull
go,
'em out?
Mr. Jones, thank you for the Christmas gift. Rather than, I would tell the doorman, you don't do that. Pull
Yeah.
pull him
Pull 'em to
aside.
the side.
Can I see you a second? Yes. Thank you for the Christmas gift. You don't call it out.
Okay, gotcha. How about tipping building staff? I don't know if building staff tips, but I know in part-time buildings there's probably a expectation by the sanitation and
Oh, they get,
Uh,
and
big buildings
UPS,
too.
right?
UPS, USPS,
Yeah.
to give a holiday tip. I think on the face, they're not allowed to accept it.
You have
Or
sometimes where UPS gets something, the Postal Service gets something. The standard deliveries that come in every other day, or they're often enough. And then, I hate to say it, but there are employees that get a little greedy about it. And on a few occasions I've heard this, where even one of the doormen where I worked at called up the tenant and said, you gave to everybody in my department an envelope, but you didn't give me. Did you forget me? And I've had situations where I said, you should never do that.
Nope.
Never, ever do something
Yeah.
like that. That's a bad taste in their mouth.
But yes, the building should give certain people, sanitation is one.
Yeah.
You need to tip sanitation.
so how does that happen? Does the resident manager?
The resident manager, you'll be pre-discussed with the building. We tip $200 per
Each?
crew.
Per crew?
Per
Okay.
crew, except for the regular guys, they'll get maybe $400 because the bottles and the cans. What's that called?
The recycle.
Recycling. You only see them once a week, so we give them $200. The
Oh,
guys that
okay,
we
yeah.
see every twice a week or 3 times a week, well, they get more. Plus, also they also take out more garbage than they're supposed to. We want
Yeah.
to throw out some stuff. They'll throw it in the truck and stuff.
Do you give it, so for a superintendent coming in, resident manager coming in, it's important to recognize your sanitation, know your sanitation
Yes.
guys.
Yes, and I always gave it through the porter who's dealing with the garbage. I would give him the money to give to sanitation,
Okay,
and the way that went is that there's proof that money went to them because it went through a second person.
Yeah.
And that's it. So, and also the porter would know them a lot more than I would. So, they would not. If there's a supervisor somewhere, he'll know when not to give them.
right. Who else aside from the post office, your postal worker?
Our elevator guy,
The elevator mechanic.
mechanic.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, we would give him about 100 to 200.
Okay,
Because when we call in for a breakdown, we want a faster response. If the guy knows that,
Yeah.
the boiler mechanic, we would take care of him in the same way. When I had central air conditioning, I didn't have money for them. I had cold beer in the fridge, and they would skip a hospital or a school to come to my building for
That's
that
inspiration.
for that beer. Oh yeah, because that room was about 107 to 110 degrees.
Oh.
So yeah, they knew that cold beer was there, no problem
and this was during the day.
during the day.
Yeah.
Or whenever the thing broke down, and he says, I put a hospital on hold to come to you, or I put a school. Yeah,
How ethical.
yeah. Well, whatever works. My job is to.
That's it. Make it happen, right?
The plumbers we never
Make
gave
it
because we never got the same plumber.
I think the resident manager's job is to make sure, I know there might be schools or hospitals waiting for service, but the resident manager's job is to prioritize his building
That's it.
over others.
course.
But Mimi's talking more about how ethical it is for that. For that. I'm just worried about the beer drinking during the day. That I can't function. I don't
Neither
drink
can I.
anymore, but I can't function with.
But at that time when I had a central air conditioning, they were Irish guys, so it was no problem.
We're circling
Sorry.
back.
They comply.
They had no
That's a
problem.
very. Asians drink a lot too, so I'm sure that probably down.
And smoke a lot too.
Oh, thanks.
And
All
they,
right now, everybody.
and
Right, let's not go there. Let's not take it to another
I
level.
want to go one more and gamble a
But-
lot.
Oh,
Okay. Look,
let's not take it to another level.
stereotypes
16, 9, and 8.
are often grounded in some.
I'm not going to touch this
But
conversation.
it kind of goes back. You said that you tip during that season. How about the exterminator? Do you tip the exterminator?
If we had the same exterminator, yes.
Because
we would
usually we
give
do.
it some, yeah.
Okay. But everything's done. I mean, even us when we tip, even resident managers and superintendents when they tip, you do it with the expectation that that tip will equal faster service right? To them. So I guess it goes around, right? I mean,
Yeah,
it's kind
yeah,
of like
it
people,
does.
yeah.
Well, same thing. I have free garage, but I always tip the garage attendants
Yeah,
from
I
my
mean, too.
pocket, not from
Yeah,
the building.
because they will ping your car up
Yeah.
when there's 20 people waiting in line
and not
to get
scratch
the car.
it.
And not scratch it. Take care of your car. Put it in a choice location.
Well, I mean, like
Yeah.
just at a restaurant, like when you get exceptional service, you tip more.
Yes.
Right.
Like that, it just makes sense, right?
Yes.
Yep. Unless
So-
unless the waitress touches my shoulder, gets more. That's a trick. You
Oh
know.
my God.
It's a trick.
So it follows that you
Mimi.
would
We should
tip
never
more
have touched
Mimi.
that subject, Mimi.
I read it
to
in.
get exceptional service.
I read it in 2 books that if the waitress
Makes contact.
just touches your shoulder, touches your shoulder, she'll get more money. As a tip.
Is that
In
is that
most
book
cases.
from 1953? I was a waitress. I never touched anybody's shoulder.
Well, there you go, and you
There
never
you
got
go.
anything extra.
I did okay.
So Peter's saying, if you never tried it, how do you how do you know what to do?
But I also spoke to them too because she would brush my shoulder a little bit. I can't finish. I think it was Jeannie, her name was, and I would say, "So Jeannie, you brushed my shoulders, that blah blah blah." She goes, "Oh, I'm sorry." I said, "No, that's all right. I just want to confirm it." She admitted it.
Right. I don't think that will fly in the building.
No.
Yeah, I don't think you should touch your customers.
No, that was we were talking about waitresses, so that's why. I brought it up.
Right. No, I mean tips all around. I mean that it's the better the service, the higher you tip. And in this building industry, I think there is a growing number of building staff members who expect it. They feel like they're entitled to it. It's almost as if they don't get it, they get there's a big disappointment, and it can affect the services. So I think the takeaway is, it is this is something that happens in the food in the restaurant industry and hospitality and building. There's no reason to get upset. The key is, and part of being professional in this industry is keeping your head up and not letting these things impact the way that you serve people, your customers. Be professional. As resident managers, you start as the example of that. So as a building super, you're the one that should not only not take it to heart when you don't get what you expect, but also to communicate that to the building staff when they're feeling it, and to let them know not to make blacklist of. I mean, I think that's
Wrong.
that's wrong.
Right.
That's wrong, and don't have your services impacted. If anything, just maybe give everyone the same, like Peter was saying, give everyone the same level, but give the other guys that's a little bit more, right? So
Yeah.
you're actually just you're providing the same, if not better, level of service, and I think that's okay.
But tipping is always optional. They've always considered tips optional. So if you provided a good service, you provide a tip, but it's optional,
Right,
right?
right.
And many places, they even include it in the bill.
Yes.
But,
Yeah,
but
which is
lately now, tipping has gone a bit extreme where if you even buy something over the counter,
They expect it.
they're expecting a
Well,
tip.
there's a tip jar.
Right.
Well,
So
like that credit card, the Stripe has, every time you put your credit card in, next thing you know, you're like,
you have a box that
Yeah.
says, do you want a tip?
yeah, I think there's been what's called tipping. What do you call that? People have really become tired of tipping, right? So
It's gone to an extreme, it's gone to another level.
Too far.
Right, right.
And then what happens is that in many businesses, like for instance, in the residential field, you get a check each week, as Peter says. You make a check each week. You perform your duties, come in, do what's necessary. The building requests that you perform your duties, and you get your check. So if you get a tip, it's optional, and it's appreciated. But in certain businesses, if the person behind the counter is making exceptional tips, in some cases, they even lower the salaries.
Yeah,
Or may not
yeah.
pay as much because they know that
That's a good
they're
point.
counting on the customers to make up the difference.
Right, there was an article
And that's
about that.
unfair.
Yeah. In the restaurant industry, I guess COVID created, problems
Yes.
for restaurants to make ends meet. So they ended up using the tip as a way to subsidize the wages of the employees.
And
I think
another-
that's that becomes a problem, because then if you don't tip, then the person that's serving you is suffering, versus tip being used as a way to improve services.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. So it's gone to a certain point where some people have gotten a little bit uncomfortable, I'll say, with the idea.
Right.
Like, you know,
I,
you
I
ordered
need to
a
know
sandwich.
what's the best tip you've ever gotten, and please adjust for inflation, roughly.
Well,
I'll do it online. Let me see if I can Google that number.
I can't. What was it? Alfred?
That much.
Yeah.
What year was it?
2005, 2002, 2003.
Okay.
It was $2,000.
What did
Oh, no, I
2000
And
never
did
made
you,
anything.
was
like
that person
three.
generous, or did you give
I was
exceptional
not.
service that year?
I wasn't expecting that, and
From one person?
We had him. He 3 years in a row before he died. Apparently, he had AIDS, and he knew he was dying, so that was the way he bought his way into heaven, perhaps. But he gave good tips, and
Yeah.
then
That's good.
at my last building was $1,200
$1,200 from a single person?
from a single person.
I got the
That
most was 350.
Well, the
2000.
2000 and 2003 is worth 3,500
Okay.
today. So that's a good amount. And then 12,000, of course, is a few years ago.
And we also had one person, as like you said, he passed on, and when he passed on, in his will, he passed on something to all of the
Yeah.
employees.
We've had that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, that's-
Yeah.
We had that.
Yeah, very nice.
That's what we like to see.
We just
Yeah.
don't like it when it becomes, when people start to hear that
Mandated?
and mandate it.
Yeah, yeah.
I guess
We-
that's the concern with tips in every industry. It's just
Yeah.
people start to
Well,
feel.
that's why they're frowning upon the stores that are mandating
7.
Yeah,
the
yeah.
tips. And I'm questioning about the donations too. Like they say, do you want to give to these
Yeah.
groups?
Don't make me go there. I give 3 places donations. I consider good donations, and then they sell my name to everybody else.
That's what
Next
I'm
thing you
talking
know,
about.
I'm getting
An
30,
avalanche of
40,
emails.
30, 40 envelopes. Give us money, give us money.
Yeah,
And then I wrote to those 3. I said, it had to be one of you that sold my name. Do it again, and you won't get anything. And
Wait, can you clarify? What are you talking about?
okay, let's say
All
you
right.
go to a store and you buy something.
No, I think
No,
Peter's
let-
talking
no.
about these charitable.
Yeah, I give to a charity.
Let's say the sheriff
Say
department,
That's
or
one,
the Parkway Police or
No,
something.
they're
Or
fine.
make a wish, something
No.
like that.
The one with the kids, the cancer kids.
Let's make a wish, that's one of
No,
them.
not that one.
Okay, so
St.
let's
Jude.
just make one up.
St.
Anyway,
Jude's.
Okay.
so I would send them $300, and then they would take that money, cash it, and then they would sell my name
To
Right,
the,
right.
to
Oh, I
a
see
whole
what you're
bunch
saying,
of
yeah.
others. Now
Correct.
all of a sudden I'm getting
you're getting an
from others.
avalanche.
And so I would write to them saying, "You sold my name, and if you
Do it
get
again.
retracted, if I keep getting them, you get nothing because then I got to give to everybody else because I feel guilty.
Yeah,
So you'll get much less."
that happens to me, that happened to me in the past.
In a building, does a rumor get around that someone tips really well, like
Right.
12,000, and then everyone like gets suddenly inspired and
They're not
motivated
they're not
to
supposed
treat them really well?
They're not supposed to discuss it,
Right.
but they do.
So that's the
They-
other thing,
yeah.
yeah. So you want to
Unspoken rules.
right. So
right?
just as Peter expects his name to be kept private when he donates or gives a
I would
tip,
say so. Yeah.
yeah, I think the tipper in the building expects his name to be,
Right.
kept private,
Because he
in
may
terms
only
of the
tip to
amount.
you that much. To
Right.
everybody else, it may be considerably lower.
right?
So,
So I think the takeaway here is when you get a tip, when you go into a building, don't go in with the expectation that you're entitled to this tip, and then when you get it, keep it private, keep it to yourself, keep your head down, do your work, Don't let it impact your service.
And don't ask for it. My first few years in the United States, 76, 78, 79, I worked as a doorman. And we had an elevator operator, Jack, God bless Jack. And Jack would always have a poem. And as he took people up and down, he says, Jack take you up, Jack bring you down. Don't forget Jack when Christmas come around. And people loved it.
Okay.
And these were very...
That might have been sort of
A bit
yeah, purposefully done.
a subliminal
And-
message.
No, no, not subliminal.
Not subliminal.
No,
They're pretty direct, actually.
It was a very stuffy building.
Okay.
No children were allowed.
Oh,
Also, if you were expecting your grandkids, you had to get permission from the board to have them overnight or for 2 days.
Okay. Is Jack still around?
No, Jack was much older than me.
Oh, okay.
I was 18 at the time. Jack had to be about 60.
I would love to talk to him.
Oh, Jack, God
Right
bless
now,
him.
yeah.
He wouldn't retire, and he was getting 5 pensions.
oh,
Okay.
And if he would have retired, he would have gotten Social Security plus the 32B.
Hmm.
He would have, but he was Norwegian. He was in the Navy. He was in the Merchant Marines. So he's getting all these pensions.
Okay.
God
Okay.
bless Jack.
All right. Thank you, everyone, for joining us today. Thank you, Peter. Thank you, Roberto, Mimi. We are going to log off now. Thanks for listening to Good Morning Super. If you enjoyed today's episodes, be sure to follow the show and leave us a quick review. It helps more people discover the story behind the city's buildings. If you want to connect with us, visit sparksuper.com or follow us on social. Until next time, keep your building running strong.
Tell a friend.
Tell a friend, right?